Okay, it looks like we are here. We are recording, and actually, I'm doing this as I guess you call it a pre-record, right? It's not live, but so I wanted to do this just to kind of experiment and see what I can do, some of the options that I may be able to do to make things better in regards to presentation. So hopefully, this all goes well. And all this stuff will make sense. I'm looking at some things here, and it's not what I want up on the screen, but we're going to go with it some kind of way. So let me see if I can pull this up the way that I really want it to come up. Let's see. There we go. That's actually better. There we go. I'm learning as I go. So this is Paul, and I am with FR8 Connect, Freight Connect. Good to see you guys. Although I don't see you, it's good that you're here, that you came passing through. And I'm going to make it real quick. I call this Freightcast, right? Whether it is a podcast, whatever you want to call it, that is what the title is. It's Freightcast, FR8 Cast, and what we try to do is bring information that's going to be supportive to the trucking community and really help you in your business, to give you different ways of seeing things, because I think that there's always more than one way to get to a destination, and it doesn't mean that one way is right and the other way is wrong. It just means that you have multiple choices, and one might be better for you, right? So, but the things that I do believe in, I definitely believe in economics in the sense that it's a part of our business. It actually dictates how our business moves, how it grows, the longevity that we may have in it. If we know this stuff, if we understand these things, it doesn't mean you have to be an economist. It just means that you have to have a working knowledge so that hopefully you become inquisitive enough to be able to take that information and apply it to what you do in your business, whether you're a broker, whether you're a dispatcher, whether you're a carrier, owner, operator, and other parts of the industry. There's many parts of this industry, but economics is what dictates our industry. So if there is no economics, no economy, our industry does not exist. We do not exist. But I'm proud to be a part of this community. Today, what I wanted to address was CPI and PPI. Now, you may have heard those terms, and you might know what those terms are, but what they do is they actually, if you think about it, what if you had information that could actually help you make better decisions in your business, to help you make decisions that would help your business grow, develop, and make more money, to get more opportunities? Is that what you would want? Would you want that? Even aside of having information that would help you to do that, would you just want that in general? Be able to have the opportunity to get to, matter of fact, you back it up. You have to back it up and understand what your goals are. Know what it is that you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to accomplish. And sometimes I don't think that that's a hard thing to do, but sometimes we might question it, right? And question it from the standpoint of, is it possible, or am I thinking in the right way? And a lot of other things. But the idea for me is that you don't want to just set rules or set these goals or these things that you want to achieve. Don't just set them and let them just linger. Make them real. Make these things real. It doesn't mean you have to analyze it to determine if it's real or not, because a lot of times we can come up with thoughts, ideas, and they might not be real to someone else, but they're real to you. Maybe you want to have a trucking company that has 100 trucks. That's real to you, okay? Obviously, we have to put in place things to get to that point, but that can be real to you. It doesn't have to be that big. It can be just that you are looking to have a conversation with someone today, right? That is real to you, and that is okay. But we have to put some things in place to achieve that goal, right? And that goal can help us to get to the next goal, to get to the next, to the next, to the next, and ultimately to where we're trying to get to ultimately. So we have the baby steps, the baby goals, and then we have our big goal, right? Now, one thing I do want to address, okay. So, so economic indicators, they're very important, and there's tons of them. All right. We have some that are on our blog, and I encourage you to go check them out. It talks about them in the sense of the trucking industry, how they apply to the trucking industry. and how you can use them, how they can be of service to you. You knowing this information. The information is there. Sometimes you have to go all over different places to bring it together and then try to interpret and understand what it's all about. But I would definitely say do not avoid it. There can be so many questions answered if you understand these economic indicators. You can actually get to the point where you enjoy understanding them, knowing about them, because then you start to think in a different way to where your business actually, it impacts your business. You can actually have fun in your business. While everyone else is thinking one way and you're thinking another, I always find great pleasure in that. When everyone is thinking one way and I'm looking in the other direction, everyone's looking at whatever that is over there, they're missing what's over here. And what's over here can be so much more fun because it's not a crowded space and I can accomplish more. You see, I can be that one person and do what it is that I want to do, so to speak. But the idea is that I want to accomplish and I want to achieve. So I'm over here looking at what everyone else is not looking at. Sometimes, yeah, you have to, you cannot be this lone wolf and, and think everyone else is crazy. But when everyone is in this pool and it's so crowded, why do I want to stick around? Oh, there's a pool over there. Let me go check it out. Right? So, at any rate, here with the economic indicators, I'm sure that people know about them. There's lots of them. Some of them apply, some of them don't when it comes to your business. But I want to talk about those indicators, and that's something that I'm going to do on a regular basis. So if you're here and you don't care to listen to this stuff, I'm sorry. It's going to be a part of what I do. If it's that, this is just too boring, hopefully I can bring something to the table that doesn't make it too boring. But it is something that I believe can really benefit you, especially if you've not really thought about economic indicators or the economy in regards to your business. If you have not tied it together into your business, if you have not figured this out, this might be of interest to you. It might take a time or two for you to repeat this, listen to it over and over again, and then all of a sudden it kicks in and makes sense. But it is something that I have sold. I'm sold to it. There's no way to get me to think any other way about it. And if you decide to join me in this, I think you're going to find success. I really do. I'm not going to say that. I know you will find success. All right? That's if you truly buy into this. Okay? So, at any rate, I'm going to touch upon this and I'll leave it alone and I'll move on. For me, here at Freight Connect, and there's a purpose that I'm telling you this, a reason I'm telling you this. Because I thought about it. I thought about it today, especially when I was dealing with a friend of mine, and we talk about some things a lot of things about achieving goals and stuff like that, and things that you go through. But in business, at least in our industry, you can get in this industry and not know what you're doing. I'm not saying people who are in the industry, they don't know what they're doing, but this here is a big industry. And there's a lot of different things, a lot of regulation, rules, people. There's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of technology that's coming into our industry. There's different facets of it. And to know it all, you can't. You can think that you do, but there's always something new that comes up. And for me, I really am excited to bring information to you guys. And hopefully it can be of help. And I want to hear and listen because I want to grow too. I hear stuff that I've never heard before or things that I thought I knew, but I didn't, because there's things that are always changing. But one thing I will say is that you don't give up. All right? Don't give up to not learning, to not growing. Do not do that. Okay? I don't care how old you are, how long you've been in this business or not been in it. It's okay. We all have to start somewhere. Even if I am an older person and I get started in this industry, you have to start. You bring to the table what you know, what you have learned in the past, but do not stop learning. Do not think that you are too old to learn. Do not think that you are so young that you know everything, or that people think you don't know anything, and therefore it's a problem. Because the truth of the matter is, there are a lot of things that you don't know that you could learn. Okay? And I want this space to be a safe space for that, so that when you do come here and you listen or we talk on live or even in private, that you feel like you can be open and I can be open to learn as well, or just to listen. And then so that we can be on the same page and move forward, because it is a tough business. It really is. So I'm bringing this up because in my business of Freight Connect, this has not been an easy journey for me. I learn every day, and when I say it has not been an easy journey, what I mean by that is um, there are things that I don't know how to do in this business. And when I say in this business, I'm talking about there's like right now, being on YouTube or being put out there. I am not a producer. I am not a TV producer. I am not a YouTube podcast producer. I'm not any of that. I'm just me, the personality, I guess you could call it. And I'm not even that, in the sense that this is not what I feel to be my talent. There is with Freight Connect, everything that you do see or you might experience has come from me. I've had to learn it. I've had to learn in regards to a logo, in regards to putting this out in this manner. I've had to learn it, this information out, being able to come up with graphs, being able to develop programs, being able to communicate, being able to understand what's right and what's wrong in the industry as far as, what you can do, can't do, and being able to communicate with other people, develop relationships, develop training programs, being able to develop online website, the different programs that are in the website or on the website, putting together blogs, writing material, excuse me, lighting. I still am challenged with that. Putting together a video for an opening for this, for a video such as this, to end it, how to do all that, I have no idea. I have no idea whatsoever on how to do all this stuff. It's a big challenge for me, but what would be a help is if I had a team. If I had a team, man, the places we would be able to go with Freight Connect. I mean, it would be amazing. And when I say that, I mean I think that we would be able to help a lot of people. I can help a lot of people right now. There's no question about that. But I'm talking about with the speed in terms of some things I would not have to think about, such as bringing us doing this this podcast right now. It would not take me, it might take me 2 minutes to get on and get going, whereas it might take me an extra 15, 30 minutes to figure it out, you see, because this is not my talent. But at the same time, I will figure it out. I will not allow something that I truly believe in keep me back from going after it. What is it that I believe in? I definitely believe that Freight Connect has something to offer our industry. And for those that that are small carriers or even brokers, dispatchers, medium size, I believe definitely we have something to offer. And in developing a community, developing the programs and products that we do have, I definitely believe there's an opportunity here for many to grow, many to develop strong and have long-lasting companies that they're able to share with others and leave a legacy and have others come up behind them and continue that legacy. I truly do believe that Freight Connect is a part of that plan to see that happen, because I hear so many people that I've ran into so many people that want to do well and want to see their business grow. And there's a piece that is missing. And it's not necessarily because you just don't know, which in most cases it is, in terms of what that piece is or how to get that piece. It's just that there's so many things within the business that you have to do. But I do believe that Freight Connect can come around and support in that way and help you to develop. And again, if you're here and this is something that's of interest to you, especially I'm talking about the economic indicator part of it, I think that we could definitely be of support, be of help. But again, I brought up all these things that I don't know how to do, and it's challenging. It really, really is. But I'm not giving up. I'm not going to give up. There are people who that you can feel, you can believe that don't believe in what you are doing. And people who you thought were there for you and aren't. And it's not anything bad on their part. It's just that they don't see your vision for your trucking company or your brokerage or anything else that you get into. And that's okay. God didn't give them the vision. He gave it to you. And so even if you feel like you lack in some things, there is no lack. God's got you. There's ways to make things happen. I can talk about having a positive mindset, being proactive, and being optimistic. All these things, and it does make a difference because it's all about mindset. It's all about the heart. It's all about that drive. If you say, "Hey, this is what I want to do," you can do it. I heard that when I was a kid. As I got older, I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do everything. I can't be the president. I can't be this. I can't be that. Look, I don't focus in on what I can't do. You have to put yourself in a position to be successful, to win. There can be many challenges that surround you. It can be because of lack of knowledge. Come on, we can get that. It can be because, again, the people that are around you. Well, we're going to have to change that. It can be due to a lack of resources. Come on, let's see. If I want to fire, give me 2 sticks. Let me put all these things that I have access to together. I don't have to have the money. And a lot of people may think that you have to have money in order to, if you want to have a trucking company, yeah, I guess you would have to have money, get the capital, be able to get the equipment that you need. But once you do that, then, you're going to have to find the business. I'll get on a load board, do that. That's not the only way to do it. And I wouldn't recommend that to be your sole focus, right? But again, in order to get there and obtain the money, there are many things that we can do to get to that point. For what I do, I had to take 2 pennies and turn it into 4, turn 4 pennies into $1, and go from there to be able to have the little that I have. And when I say that, you don't have to have a whole lot in order to move forward. Okay. And again, here at Freight Connect, man, I can't lie, man. I have grown so much. And that's the key. I think a lot of times we don't recognize that. You don't recognize that when you go through stuff, when you go through challenges, what actually comes out of that is growth. And the only way that it's growth is if you recognize it. That's the only way that we can call it growth. At least that's the way I see it. The only way that you can call anything growth is if you recognize that you went down the wrong way on a street. You went down the wrong way. It's a one way. You went down the wrong way. Or you're in another country and you drove on the wrong side, right? Once you accept that, you recognize that, you accept it, then you can do something about it, right? And then you can go get on the right side of the street. Oh, I'll never do that again. Hey, Terry, no, don't. When you are going down such and such street, make sure that all of a sudden now I'm telling other people, I'm advising other people. But I recognized it instead of me continually going down the wrong pathway. When we continually go down the wrong pathway, we haven't learned anything. We haven't even opened our eyes to see that we're going to, maybe we think that everyone else is going down the wrong pathway, right? But that is not going to help you to get to where you're trying to go. I guarantee it. It's going to make it harder going down the wrong side of the street. And eventually, maybe to the point where it's so catastrophic that, the result that you don't go any further, which you should not go any further if you're going down the wrong pathway. You have to recognize, turn around, and get yourself on the right pathway. And you've learned from that. Okay, I know not to go down that way. I know it's down that road. I don't want to go down that road anymore. So now, let me figure this out. Okay, I see people going down this way. Okay, let me talk to them. Let me ask them. Let me ask questions. Let me grasp this thing. Let me understand. So then now I understand why we're going this way. I understand what this is all about. All right, let me create my own lane. Okay, so there can be many, many, many things that that we want to do, but we have to learn. That's growth. And we can teach others as well. Will they open up and listen to you? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You just be that agent, okay? You be that agent. You want to absorb. You want to be curious. And you want to grow. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I've always done. When people say that, you should not be doing that. You shouldn't do that. Well, I'm telling you what. I'm going down this lane, and for some reason it feels right. I'm sorry, this is the lane I've chosen. Sometimes you can create your own lane, which I've done here at Freight Connect. And I tell you what, it's hard, but again, God gave you that vision. It's the right lane. It's the right lane. So here at Freight Connect, I'm bringing this information to you knowing that it's the right lane. It's not going to be the right thing for everyone. And I just encourage you to at least give it some thought. You can give me a call, and I'd love to talk to you about this stuff. But we're about action. We're about moving forward and cutting out the noise, not listening to the noise. I think we have some pretty good articles out there. You can read them, check them out. Sometimes we'll write about a topic and not write about it for a long time. It's just that we feel like we put it out there and it totally made sense for that moment, and it's something that you can learn from even a year later, but we want to put information out there that you can benefit from and programs out there. But getting back to CPI, I know I took probably, 5-10 minutes to go down that way, but I don't know. I just felt like I needed to say that. There's more for me to say, but I'll leave that for another day. So here we are. We are talking about economic indicators, and two of them. One is CPI. The other one is PPI. And what do they mean? What are they all about? Well, we're not going to go too deep into it, but we want to get this on the surface level and be able to grasp it and be able to follow up with it and look at it in our business and see how does it apply. Because these two, they totally do apply to the transportation, to the trucking industry. All right. CPI is Consumer Price Index. Consumer, we'll break it down, price, index. Okay, PPI is producer price index. So let's stick with the consumer price index first. And then, and I apologize in regards to the videos. Again, I'm not a video person, so my videos are not as beautiful as other people's videos. I wish they were, but one day I will get someone in here that will be able to make them pretty darn good. Unfortunately, they're going to be longer and longer than you might want them to be, but I'm going to work on that. Yeah, so these are not the best looking videos, but hopefully the content is of value. So CPI, Consumer Price Index, consumer. Everyone that all of us, we are all consumers, right? Anything that we purchase, we are a consumer. Anything we go out to get service, we are a consumer, right? We eat it up, What is it that you've got for me, right? I want that. Nope, I don't want that. I want that. So when we are consumers, there's somebody providing that, whatever it is, that service, that product, right? So that's a business. You've got entrepreneurs providing that product to you. As the consumer, you're eating it up, right? So the entrepreneur needs some help in order to provide, like I need help, right? They go out and they get labor to help create whatever that good is or even service to be able to provide to you as a consumer. All right. So what is it that the consumer wants? Oh, let's develop that for them because they want it and they're willing to give us money for that. Now, an investor comes along and an investor is like, okay, let's make this happen. You need capital. You need funding in order to be able to run and operate your business. I've learned that in my business, and I'm sure that you have as well. We need funding in order for our business to continue and in order for it to grow. All right. So when you have someone that believes in your business and wants to invest in it, and it's not charity because they're looking for a return, then you've got your business backed and you're able to move forward, working to get to profitability, and you're supporting a community that wants what you're putting out. And it's not that you're putting it out and someone's going to want it. It's that you're putting something out that they want. There is a what? A demand for a particular item, a service. So when the demand is high, then that is the right place to be in offering that item. And I should say it more so that when there is a demand, this great demand for something, you definitely want to be in that space. You want to get into it early on, before there is, a whole bunch of people get into it, and then all of a sudden that your part of the pie of that demand diminishes. But the idea, again, if I were to review here in terms of the players involved, we have the consumer, you have the entrepreneur, you have the labor, and then you also have the investor. Those are the four that I identify as far as establishing the economy or making this economy grow. You need those four players, all right? All of them are consumers. Some are investors, some are labor, and some are entrepreneurs. But all of that, and then you have the demand. There's a reason for this economy because there is a demand for things that are scarce. Everybody might want eggs, but sometimes they run out for whatever reason, okay? So then there is a price put on these items, okay? So now that we have these items available and there is a cost, right? There is a cost to produce them. Does that word sound familiar? To produce them. And then there is the consumer who purchases it. Does that word sound familiar? Consumer. Price, right? Produce. We have the consumer price index, the price of things, and then we have the producer's price index, the cost of the production of those items. So we have these two different costs, right? And one follows the other. So with that, the CPI, that goes up and that goes down. Now, what I failed to do was to mention when we measure CPI, it's synonymous with inflation. or even deflation. And what does that mean? That what we're talking about when we say inflation and deflation, we're talking about the movement of the price, okay, of these goods. So we have this baskets of goods. Let's say, I don't know, it's bread, other food items, and some other household items and things of that nature, services. The price can adjust. You go in the store, wait a minute, this was $1.50 the other day. Now it's $2, or wow, wait a minute, the price has gone down. So we have this fluctuation in price, right? But we want the price, at least economists do, they want to see that price go up at a steady pace. Why? Because then that means that the economy is growing. That's a good thing. Now, there's so many other things that we can talk about that would be related to all of this, but I'm going to try to refrain from doing that best I can. All right. So the price is going up, but not too fast. Okay. And that's a good thing. So we are spending money for these items. All right. The CPI is that price change of these items. All these items, we take an average, and then it's determined what that pricing is. And so if last year it was $100, and then this year it's, what would that say, $1,000, whatever it is, there has been an increase in price. What is that? Is that like that's a 1,000, is that 10%? That would be a 10% increase, is that right? That's not right. Is that 100%? I can't think now. Well, okay, so you do the math. I apologize. Someone needs to put down in the notes what that percentage increase, but it's measured. It goes from one year to the next, and it shows the increase. All right. So today we're saying, okay, here's the CPI. It's at 3.2. Last year, whatever it was, today, now it is that much greater than it was last year. Okay. So the cost of these things have increased, of these items on average. The cost for me to live has increased. It costs me more today than it did a year ago to live, to purchase food, to take care of my household. All these things, the price has gone up. So the cost of living has increased. Now, when that happens, when the cost of living goes up, it didn't happen just out of nowhere, right? And I'm not going to get into it today, but there are many reasons why that happens. But if you look at it, and then you say, okay, this is what my pocket says, I can still afford it. But it can get to a point that that price is so high that I can't afford it, right? If I want to go to the store and I want to buy peanut butter, and I love this certain type of peanut butter, I might have to decide I can't get that peanut butter. I'm going to have to go with this peanut butter. I really like this peanut butter, but I love peanut butter so much. I'm going to continue to buy peanut butter. I'm going to buy this lower cost peanut butter because it fits into my budget. So you do that, right? Or you might decide to purchase something different altogether. You know, you might eat the peanut butter and jelly sandwich without the peanut butter, although it wouldn't be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich without the peanut butter, but you might decide that, or put a substitute in there, whatever that might be. I don't know what would substitute peanut butter, but you might put in a substitute. Or you might change it all up together, that you might eat a different type of sandwich. Like I said, a jelly sandwich or some other kind of sandwich, because that no longer fits into your budget. Okay? And then at the same time, like let's say with butter, I can substitute margarine for that. It's cheaper, but it's not butter. But this is what my budget says that I can afford. So cost of living, right? It could get to a point again, like I said, you can't afford it, and therefore that gets pushed out of your budget. It doesn't have to be just food. It can be activities. It can be entertainment. It can be many different things. But what is, so to speak, what is keeping you back from spending the money that you were spending before is now your pocket. Yes, the cost of things went up, but has the money in your pocket changed? Has that gone down or has that gone up to help you keep up with the cost of living? So when we look at CPI, there can be an impact. It can create some changes and a lot of other things, including us deciding that, I can't do this job anymore. Not because it's a bad job, I just can't afford it anymore, or it can't afford me anymore. I need more money. So therefore, I need to look for another job. Okay? Or within this job, what are the opportunities for me to move up and make more money? Or just to make more money? What is it? Do I need to get a certificate within this company in order to be to get a raise? Okay. So when things go up in price or the price fluctuate, it does have an impact on us as a consumer. Okay. But here's the thing. Remember, our industry follows the economy, and with that, we have a main player, which is the consumer. And when things change with the consumer, for the consumer, they change for in the economy. And when the economy changes, that there's changes that occur with us, right? So in the trucking industry. So that means that if then peanut butter is too much, and I have to change brands, I might have been moving the brand that you used to like or that you do like, but you can't afford anymore. And so since multiple people cannot afford it, I might not be moving as much of that product. Or people stop buying peanut butter and they go buy something else. They have substituted what they used to purchase for something else or just stop buying that altogether. Then I don't have any business in that, in that sector anymore. Because the company that I was moving this freight for, they said we don't have as much of a demand. The demand has gone down. It has changed. Okay. Now, I think you see a chart behind me. Yeah, up here, this chart here. And it goes from January on over to June. I believe that's the way this chart goes. Or maybe it comes this way. No, it goes that way. It goes that way. Yeah, it goes that way. We'll say it goes that way. So yes, from January on over. So I don't believe I pulled this chart, but I don't think it to be a current chart, with the real numbers in regards to CPI and PPI. But the idea here is you look at the blue and you can see that this is measuring what the price was a year ago. So you can see here in January, a year ago, here in measuring it a year ago, it looks like it's like 3.1 maybe. There's a 3.1% increase in the price of things. And then you go, and that was January of the year before. Then you go to February, same thing. That looks like maybe a 3.2. And then you go to March, looks like it's right at 3.5. And let's see, I have to move this. April is at, well, that's not cooperating. There we go. April is a little less, went down, but yet it still went up from the year before. So it went up to 3.4% or so. And then we have May at like 3.5. And then we have June, which is at about 3.2. So that is the year over year. You see that way up over. Let's see if I can get my hand back in here. Here it is. But at any rate, you go way up there in the corner and you'll see CPI YOY, and that means year over year. PIP, that is YOY, year over year. We can do MOM, mom, and that would mean month over month. But this is measuring year over year. Okay. All right. So we can see that last year, prices went up by a certain amount, percentage, right? Did my pocket move in that way? Or am I making enough money where, okay, I'm good, right? Again, this here creates change, all right? Now, for us as trucking, it might get to a point where people are not spending money like they used to because they don't have it to spend. Not to spend at that level. Maybe they have the money, but their pocket did not increase. And therefore, there are businesses that are like, well, you know, people aren't buying what we have to offer. We're going to have to let some people go. And then when they start letting people go, then there's less money to be spent, to be gotten and to spend. And if the people are not spending money, you know, they may go for unemployment and they have less money to spend. They're more selective. And then if they're spending less, then we have that cycle occur. And then that's when things can get really bad. We can get into recession talks, uh, depression talks, all those type of things. But we are looking at the CPI. Now, we don't look at the CPI alone and say, this is going to tell me everything that I need to know about the economy and about labor and about entrepreneurs and all that. That's not the case. But it is a very important indicator to be a part of your analysis. Okay? It's a very important piece. There's lots of things that we can learn from it, along with other information. Okay, so it's not that hard. Again, it's just the change, the percentage change in the cost of goods, the ticket price, how much things cost, what was the percentage change from one period to another period, from last year to this year, from last month to this month, right? And when we follow it, we can start to see a trend. We start to see, is it going, it's going up, it's going down, but it's all based upon the year before, okay? Two things. One I want to say is that, and I might have mentioned this before, when Biden was in office, the mistake that was made was saying that, trying to tell people that the percentage on inflation, that inflation is, whether it's under control or it's not that bad and it's coming back into control or the numbers that we want it to be. The problem with that was that the people were focused, and Biden was focused, his administration were focused on two different things. And they were trying to put a narrative out there that eliminated another reality, because what they were talking about was correct, and the reality that people were saying, no, I don't feel it, was correct. Because during COVID, there was a 9%, I want to say 14%, but I know 9% CPI. Inflation increased 9%. That's not what you want. Remember I said 2% is what's acceptable? If it's 9%, it's tough out there unless you're getting paid an increase to keep up with that kind of cost of living. Okay, there's plenty of examples of other countries and during times of war and what have you, when their money was not, had any value. It didn't hold any value. You go to Uganda during the time of Idi Amin, go to Germany back, I think, during World War I or what have you, in different periods in time, money didn't hold its value. Okay, here, we have. You currently have, I mean, I can go to the store now, and definitely I buy less groceries. It's not because I want to buy less, it's because my money doesn't go as far. So when Biden was talking the talk that he was talking, people were saying, wait a minute, we had 9% increase in the price of things. 9%. We understand that we're at 3.5% or whatever the percentage was that you're talking about as far as what's going on right now. But it's kind of like if you're going up a flight of stairs and someone takes 9 steps ahead of you and you're trying to race up the stairs, right? You're not going to catch them if you guys are kind of pacing the same after that 9-step jump. You're still at a deficit of those 9 steps. So in trying to go up to the stairs, you're at 9 steps behind. You're not gaining. It's not that they are slowing down so that you can catch up. They're maintaining that 9-step lead. And that's what was happening. There was this 9-step lead that was like, look, this is a monster, and it is impacting, it's affecting me even a year later because it did not come down to where I'm at. It stayed at 9, and then we add another 3 on top of that. which if it never went to 9 and maybe it went to 2 to 3, okay, we're good. Let's keep talking. I hear you, Mr. President. But I don't hear you when we are not talking about the 9% increase. So people felt that. It's like being on those stairs and you're trying to catch up with the inflation. Your cost of living is not very comfortable because you're still behind. But eventually we have to adjust over time to it. What does that mean? I do need to get paid more. Maybe I have 2 jobs, right? Or maybe the next administration does something to help. Or we just have to adjust, So those are some of the dynamics that are at play. When we talk about PPI, again, PPI is the exact same thing in terms of it is measuring that price difference, okay, in terms of producing these products on that side of things, on the upstream side of things, that cost in production, there's a cost coming to the retailer, and that is on the PPI side. So when that costs fluctuate, there is the idea that you will feel it as the consumer, because if on the producer side prices are going up to bring this stuff to market, then on your side the price will change as well. It doesn't always happen that way, right? Sometimes those costs can be eaten somewhere in there, but not always. So when we look at the price, the PPI, when that moves, if we're looking at that and we take notice there was a movement, then we can look at things and determine, you know what, there's probably going to be an increase on the consumer side of things. So while that's moving and we see it early on, whether it's as a retailer or even as a trucking company, then I can decide this is something I need to pay attention to as a trucking company, because then I can communicate with my clients, whether it's a broker, whether it's a retailer, whether it's a manufacturer, and I can have conversations about that. I'm over here in this pool, guys, while everyone is over here just trying to figure out, hey, where's my next load? Where's my next load? I got to get another load. I'm swimming in this pool and they won't give me the load. They gave it to this person over there. I don't know why they gave it to that person over there. They are underbidding and they're not going to be around and their stuff is just going to be sitting on the side of the road. And they need to understand this and they don't understand that. And they're trying to get over on me and on and so forth, and broker transparency. And we just go on and on and on. And we're in that pool. I'm not. Many people are in that pool. When I'm over here and I'm looking at these other things that make a difference. You can be over there and it makes a difference. But then when things change, you don't know why. You don't know why that you're not seeing any more freight. Or you don't know why the freight over there is greater. Or you found out it's greater and then you decided to go over there later. You decided to get out of this area too late. But when I'm over here and I'm having these different conversations, right? I'm having these conversations with different, maybe it's even a different level at the company. I'm talking to the CEO. I'm talking to the CFO. I'm talking to these other people at the company that know what's going on, understand the economy, and we can have meaningful communication and a great relationship to the point where they're like giving me the freight. You want more freight, Paul? I can't handle it right now. Well, I mean, if you had another truck, okay, you'd be able to give me. Yeah, I'd love to actually. Great. So these are just two economic. Did I go through enough? I hope I did. One of the things is well, okay, let me kind of end this to kind of clean this up. I didn't go through everything about CPI or PPI. Again, you can go onto our blog at elevatefr8.com, go to the blog section, go to the I guess, I don't know, we have 40 something out there, 40 something, 41, 42 blogs out there. Go to blog 1. That one's about fraud. Go to blog 2. Starts talking about the economic indicators, and then 3 and 4, I think they get into the CPI and the PPI. But go back and check that out. That was put out a year ago, July, but it's going to be always relative, okay? Somewhere where you can go to and see that information and visit it. So today, if you were to look at the numbers, and then if you knew some things about other economic indicators and things that are happening and things that are happening around the world, such as the Israel attack on Iran and what that's all about. We have a blog out. You can read that, check that out, the most recent one that we put out yesterday morning when all this was going down. Check that out. But all these things do matter, and they make a difference in the United States. And you can see fractures before others do. You can understand that this is about to change. Some things are about to change, and this is why. Are you going to be 100% accurate? You'll probably be 100% in that it's good to look at that and focus in on that, you know. And for some, you can feel fully confident that there's going to be a change, and you can respond accordingly. While you're over here in this pool and everyone else is over here, you're not missing what's about to happen. You're going to be able to, and part of all this is building relationships. You know, all this stuff goes together. This makes it's your business, okay? That's the key. What are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? Here's what it's going to take. And it's okay to learn this stuff now, right? And that's what we want to help out doing. You know, there's ways to communicate with people. You know, you can get on YouTube, trust me, and I encourage you to, and, learn how to talk to people. You know, learn how to reach out to people, how to find leads and things like that. Do it. However you do it, do it. We know how to do it. We've been doing it for a long time. I've been doing it for a long time. It's been 30 years, 30 plus years professionally. So it's well more than 30 plus years that I've been doing it. 40 plus years. Did I go 50? Close to it. But I've been doing this for a long time. And the reason I'm saying that is that I want you to buy into what I am saying, that these things are important and they make a difference. A lot of people will think about it and say, oh, okay, and they go back to what they're doing. That is totally fine. And a lot of people do that. Okay? And then there are those few who say, let me look at this. No, there's something here. Let me do it afraid, meaning let me do it and I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm going to try this and see what happens. I'm going to say things I've never said before. I'm going to ask things that I've never asked before. I'm going to dial this number that I never would have dialed before. You know, I'm going to think this way. I'm going to try to, but I'm going to try to do some things to help me think in a different way. Mindset. It's huge. You know, sometimes we go through situations that cause us to react and do things in a different way, but it's tough to just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to decide. I'm consciously deciding this is what I'm going to do differently, and I'm going to seek out help to do that. We go through school as a young person to learn. We go every day to school, and we sit there in class. And it's because it's required of us to do it. And that is just to get us to, become good citizens, right? I'm not diminishing or saying anything bad about anybody's school system, but I am saying that once you do go through that, when you're young, you really don't know what you like. Most people don't know what you want to do. But as time goes on and you maintain that idea of being curious and learning, eventually you figure it out. Even if it's at age 50, you'll figure it out. if you're in a truck, if you, whatever it is that you do, you have the opportunity to stay on that path of growth, learn, know that I made a mistake, because a mistake is not bad. A mistake is bad when you continually repeat it. But when you're able to get something out of it and learn from it, because sometimes that's the only way to learn is to make a mistake. That is the only way to learn. Okay? That's the only way. Sometimes you go and you buy a product. I mean, I've heard this many times. People have gone and they have purchased a program, especially like during COVID, when there were a lot of programs out there and people had money and they just spent the money, but you can purchase a program and it doesn't bring you any value. You get nothing out of it. You might get some words, module and things like that, but there is not anything behind it. Okay. Um, Now, I didn't say all that to say this about what we offer, but the way I think, the way I do think, in terms of a program, I have been through so many different, not many different businesses, but just so many years of experiencing different programs, different approaches at a business, right? And those businesses, they're good businesses. I mean, big businesses, that have international ties or even have companies locations overseas, big companies. But their sales team was a huge turnover, constantly. They were bringing people in to interview. They would say, "Hey, we're interviewing, open interview." And I remember going in like cattle, and I got my interview, and then the guy said, they called me up and said, "We want to hire you, but we want to put you in the residential department." I said, "Residential? How much money do they make? Can I make more money on the business side?" "Yeah." "Well, why am I not on the business side?" "Well, he thought that that would be a better place for you." "Thank you for the offer, but no thank you." And I thought about it, man, I should have just taken it. Sometimes you can't do that. You can't just be turning down stuff like that. I needed a job, but I turned it down. Probably about 10, 15 minutes later, I got a call. This is before there was caller ID and all that stuff. I think caller ID might have existed, but this is before the cell phone, right? But I answered the call, and he called me back. It was actually, the boss man had called me, the big boss, the first time. And then he had one of the supervisors call me, and I said, "Well, he had just called me and told me that, I mean, we talked, and I had turned him down." He said, "Yeah, but he wants you to be on the business side." I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, just you turn him down. He really was impressed with that." I said, "Okay, sounds good to me." And then it was like pressure on me. I got to perform, but that's not, I wanted the opportunity. Okay. I love that word. I wanted the opportunity to be able to get it. Put me on the business side. Don't put me on the residential. I want to be on the business side. That's where I want to be. There's an opportunity there for me to make more money. I need to then figure out the game. I got to figure it out, right? So I've got to put in the work. I got to put in work in order to get the results. And I did very well. I mean, it was a struggle, but I had to learn it. I even was at a point where they were going to let me go. They didn't even tell me that they were going to let me go. They didn't build up to it. It was like one day I hadn't been performing, right? There wasn't anything really poking me to make me perform. So I knew I was underperforming, but they came to me 3 months later or so and said, "Hey, if you're not at this point by the end of the month, we're going to have to let you go." I said, "How is that possible that you did not give me any, so to speak, advance notification so then I could work on that?" I mean, right now it's almost like me going from ground zero to getting to where you expect me to be. "Yeah, I know, but you haven't been performing." And I thought we had a great relationship. I know the boss guy up top, he came down on her, and then she had to present that to me. And maybe it was just to motivate me. I don't know. But no one had ever approached me. So I decided, okay. And I went to work. And people asked me, "Paul, what's wrong with you?" And I looked up at them. I said, "Oh, nothing. I'm working." And I put in the work. And I did very well. I exceeded my quota for that month. And ultimately, I ended up taking over that team. She got promoted, and they promoted me to that role. And so, you have all this information around you, and when you decide that you're going to take this information, what's here, and elevate your business, elevate yourself, you have to put in the work, you know. Sometimes there's motivation to do it, but if that's what you really want, you can achieve it. And I am here to, offer something different. Again, there's many packages out there that people can sign up for, and they can work for you. Some may not. This program may not be for everyone, but in terms of me coming online and talking about these are things that I totally believe in, right? Trucking industry, I've been around it for quite a while, since 2001, 2002 actually. So I guess that gets me 23 years. Um, yeah. So, and a lot of the things that I talk about, they're not hard. I mean, if you open your mind and it's something you really want and you allow your mindset to shift, we can make that happen. There's work to be done, but it can be done. If you're new to the industry, I definitely say, hey, you need to stick around. You need to, I recorded this and put it out on YouTube. So, thumbs up, give me thumbs up. We don't have many thumbs up. We don't have many subscribers. I'd love for you to subscribe. I don't know how that all works. I'm saying it because that's what I hear people say to do, and I think it helps some kind of way. But I just want to get this information out, and if that helps to do that, let's do it. Um, because you can. There are things that I keep saying this over and over again. Because I know people in my personal life where there's opportunity for them, and it just pains me to see that they not go after that opportunity. Some of you know my story in regards to the music industry. You know, um, I just want to see, I just want to see success. And when I know it's there, when I know that it can be grabbed, when I know it's there, and I see it, I can't help you to see it. But I can put, information out and different things to help. I know that piece. I know that. And so I've been working on something pretty diligently, and I'm really excited about it. And there's some current clients that are really good people, and I'm working with them in regards to that. But man, I just know there is opportunity for growth. Like right now, the way the industry is, when I say the industry, I'm talking more so in regards to the economy. I include that in my vocabulary, or what my definition of when I say, when I'm talking about trucking, I'm including the economy. Okay? You have to. You can ignore it if you want, but you have to. It's kind of like if you're really thirsty, right? Oh man, my mouth is so dry, but I'm thirsty. Oof, that would really do me good. Oh, okay. I hear you. My question is, what do you want? What do you want to handle that? What do you think you need? Do you need some food? Do you need a slice of paper? Do you need a pen? Do you need a podcast? What do you need? Oh, no, 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 no. I need something to drink. Okay. You want a beer? What do you want to drink? No, I need water. Okay. All right. What kind of water you want? Uh, just clear water. You want ice? You want it cold? You want it? I want cold water. I would like some cold water. Okay. Very good. With ice, is that okay? Yeah, that's fine. I don't care as long as it's cold. Okay. Hmm. Are you sure that's what you want? Yeah. Because I think you've been thirsty for quite a while. I have been. It's been a while. When's the last time you had some water? You know what, to be honest with you, I don't even remember. You don't even remember what it tastes like, I bet. No. You might not even know what it looks like. It's been a long time. I don't even remember what it looks like. I couldn't tell you. I just know I want it. That's what I want. I want some water to. Okay, I'm going to help you out. Right in front of you is a glass of ice cold water. Why have you not grabbed it? Why have you just let it sit there and you not drink from it? Huh. Yeah, that is ice water, isn't it? In a glass. Yes, it is. It's for you to grab it. Hmm. So then what do I need to do to grab it? You just need to take your hand and grab it and then put it to your mouth and start drinking that water. That's it? Well, I mean, you do have to put out that, exert that energy in order to do that, but yes, that's what you need to do. Hmm. Hmm. Man. Well, I'm probably gonna let me get this truck covered first. And then I'll think about that. You know, you just told me that that's what you want, that that's what you need, that is, yeah, I know. Well, just call me back and then when you want me to call you back, I don't know. Just you could try me Friday, sometime the end of this week. Okay, I'm gonna call you back to do what? Well, we can talk then. Okay. All right. We'll talk then. I know that was a long little whatever I just said, but that is what I experience, right? That there is what it is that is going to help you in what you say you want is right there. But for whatever reason, I don't know if it's skepticism or if it is experiences from the past, or if there is a lack of understanding, or just fear, or comfort level. We talk about comfort zone and the state of mind, but whatever it is, I don't know what it is, but I do know it's preventing you from achieving what you say you want. Because maybe that's not what you want. Therefore, that glass of water is, and maybe it's not so bad if you want something to be better and you're willing to, maybe you're comfortable. Maybe it is a comfort. I don't know what it is, but I do know I see that and hear that often. So I am simply about doing something about it. What does this mean, Paul, about all this stuff that you're talking about? I go back to CPI. CPI, there is a reason to look at CPI on a regular basis, to learn it, to understand it. This is a door, a way to, and PPI, it's a door into understanding this stuff that I'm talking about that can make such a difference for you because when you are communicating with people, once you start to understand these things, you're going to be talking to them in a completely different way. You're going to be talking to them in a way that matters, in a different way. You're going to see things differently. They're going to see things differently. They're going to feel you differently. You can have conversations with, sometimes I hear people tell me, I don't even know who to talk to, who to call. We can figure that out. I can work with you on that, you know? Well, what do I say when we can figure that out? As a matter of fact, with our program and with these indicators, we actually give you the words to say. When we were talking about CPI here, we tell you who it is that you should be reaching out to in terms of level, right? Who you can be asking for. You can ask for anyone at any level, but how do you talk to them, right? But at the same time, even if you go in to talk to someone, call and make a call to talk to someone in shipping, that might not be the proper person to talk to about what you have to talk about, okay? But we teach you this stuff. I don't have time, Paul. I understand that. But also, I do understand that you have a goal that you're trying to accomplish, and you continually, day after day, seem to be spinning your wheels. You might be getting traction, you might be moving forward a step or two, but we're talking about making some leaps. Let's take those 9 steps up, right? Let's go up 9 steps. It doesn't happen overnight. Like with anything, you went to school multiple years before you graduated the eighth grade. That's what, 9 years of schooling. And then you go on to high school, it's another 4 years. That's 13 years of schooling. You're 18. That means ever since you were 5, you've been learning. But at the age of 18, you're just now becoming an adult, classified as an adult. So there's so much more to learn about life, right? And that's not eliminating learning about the professional world because there's so much to learn. I remember when I was younger and I was walking downtown, I was like figuring out like college and stuff like that. And then I remember hearing something about Mandarin, maybe this was after I graduated, I can't remember, but learn this language. This is the language to learn, to know. Here's the reasons why, right? And I was like, okay, yeah, I need to do that. I never took a class or anything like that. But the point is that there is always something to learn. Crypto, there is always things of blockchain. I was talking to one of my past students, great guy, Kevin, last week. Was it earlier this week? I can't remember. But we were talking about some things and ChatGPT, AI, and some other things. And he's a smart guy. He's a guy that's curious, and he goes after whatever it is that he's ready to go after. And I love that about Kevin. And we can have great conversations. And the thing is that there is so much there, guys. So much out there. When I was younger, we did not have these things. We did not have AI. We didn't have where we could get on the computer. We had Commodore 64. We had Atari. But yes, you could do some things with those things. But I wasn't around that environment, and I couldn't figure it out. I was willing to do it on my own, but I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know where to get the information, right? But if I did, not that I had to have the internet, just, I would go look at magazines. There were some things I would get into, and I would look at the magazines to try and learn it. But there was nothing that I found that had to do with technology. But things are so easy today and more complicated than years ago that you can do anything. And when I say that, meaning that if you wanted to create a business and no one has thought of it, you can do that. If you've not heard of this business before, this idea, doesn't mean that you're going to be successful at it, but you are definitely going to have a shot at it. Back in the day when I was younger, there were only 3, 4 channels to turn the TV onto and watch. And then they ended at midnight or whatever time they ended. Those that went through the night, it wasn't broadcasting that I was interested in watching. I might just stay up, but there wasn't really much out there. And when there was something that came on that late, I was zoomed in on it because it was so cool that here's some broadcasting at 2 in the morning that I'm actually enjoying that's worthwhile. It's almost like I got something that I wasn't supposed to have, we were supposed to have this bad programming, but wait a minute. Whoa, this is good stuff. And it's 2 in the morning. I want that, I get excited about that stuff. And then as time went on, radio stations started to stay on later. And then as time went on, there were video games that I could play at home. The graphics weren't that good, but as time went on, the graphics got better. And as time went on, there were other things that were affordable that you thought you could never have. And then as time went on, there are things that you're able to do that you only thought was reserved for big businesses. Remember the copy machines, the printers? And you would go into an office, and these things were huge. And they always had problems. So whoever sold you the copier or leased it to you, they were always going to be in business because they did not always, everyone didn't know how to operate them. You had to have one person on reserve that understood it, right? Understood all those, but I still don't understand them, right? But they would get jammed, and it was a problem. But today we have printers that can do just as great a job that set it on our desk or even have it in our trucks. We can have printers in our trucks now. We can have computers in our trucks now. We can have a whole office setup in our trucks. And guess what? It doesn't even take a lot because you can do it from your phone in some cases. You can do it from your pad, your iPad, or whatever kind of pad you have. You can have a computer set up, but it doesn't have to take up a lot of space. There's so many things that we're capable of doing today that we can do. And I find people, at least in our industry, saying this is what they want, but they push it away. If you say you want this, and if somebody has put it together to help you get what it is that you want, put something together to help you get there, you can go that route or decide to figure it out on your own, which I generally do. And I can talk about why that is the case. And it's nothing bad, but I am a true like builder, developer at heart. And again, want to see your business grow. But here you can like try to develop it on your own and figure it out, or you can go to where it's already kind of figured out, or it's figured out, and then you insert yourself, and then you go from there. So this has allowed you to go leaps and bounds, catch up on those 9 stairs, right? So that you can get here. There's so much out here you should never be 9 steps behind. That becomes a choice if you stay 9 steps behind. You can take 2 steps forward. Then you can even take 1 step back, but it does not impact you. Now you've taken 2 steps forward, 3 steps forward. Now you have gone, we took 1 step back, so was that 6 steps? And we're only 6 months into it. You can instantly get caught up. You can get caught up with these big companies, whether it's big trucking companies or whatever. I don't know what kind of information they put out, but we can get you at a point where the information you put out is at their level or better. And also, when you put it out, you'll be able to put it out quickly. Doesn't necessarily mean you're a better company, but these are the things that make you a better company. When you really think thoughtful about your business and do thoughtful things for your business, that's what's going to make the difference. When you become inquisitive, all right? So with CPI, when I'm thinking about CPI and I'm thinking about how the prices change, why that happens, the dynamics that go into that. Again, I got my degree in economics, but there's a reason why. It's because I'm a curious type of person. I want to know, how do things work? You know? And when you do that, you're going to be able to come up with different ideas, different or aha moments, right? For your trucking company or anything else that you get into. You're going to be able to tie things together and it's going to make sense to you. When you go out there to the dealership, when you go to the bank, when you go looking for a partner, when you're looking to recruit, when you're looking to build family ties and things like that, these things matter. To be inquisitive, to learn, you know. So in saying all that, economic indicators, I've said it many, many times, these are things that we are going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about economic indicators, and we're going to put them together. At one point in time, we might be talking about CPI and PPI, and then you're going to hear it later on, and it's going to tie it in. There's so many things that I did leave off the table because I can't go into it all at once, right? But definitely CPI and PPI. Get to know them. Go to the blog, look it up. You can find it on the BLS, which is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I believe that's what it is, right? The BLS government site, and it puts out a lot of reports. And I believe CPI and PPI is one of the reports that it puts out. You can go back and you can track it and look and see what it's been like for the past year, 2, 3, 4, 5, 30 maybe. But even in that, when I talked about the 9%, look it up. I don't want to be telling you a lie, I want you to look it up. I tell people when they're in my class, there is no cheating in my class. And I don't mean it in the sense that you can't do this, you can't do that. I'm encouraging you to take the resources that you have to go find the answers, right? If I say something and then all of a sudden you're on your phone and you're looking up and trying to figure it out or find it, do it. If we're having a conversation and you need to look something up and to help you to stay on the same page or to even help me, because I might say something and you're like, well, da, 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 da. By all means, look it up. If you're in my class taking a test, look through your notes. I want you to be resourceful. I want you to be able to find things and feel like, okay, I have an idea, and it not stay there and get stuck. I want you to be able to go forward with it. Don't hesitate. Get into that habit, the habit of being inquisitive and taking action. Doesn't mean you're going to do that thing, but gain the knowledge, all right? And when you do that, you're going to be able to have better conversations, and you're going to find yourself having business that you want. And that's what we're talking about here, okay? I think I covered everything. Do not stop. Like I said, I am working to try and figure out all this stuff. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, that's going to be, I don't care, even if we're the size of Apple, there's going to be things to figure out. And I want to continue to be able to grow in that way. I want to be able to grow for my clients, my customers. I want to be able to bring things. We have a lot of big ideas here at Freight Connect, but I want to be able to bring some things, a lot of things here that are going to help you to develop your business. I don't care what level your business is. I don't care if it's a one shop or a one truck shop, or if you are just a dispatcher and you got one truck, one power unit, whatever it is, all the way up to 100 trucks, all the way up to 1,000, whatever it is. And especially if you're able to go from 1 to 100 or to 10 to 15 to 20 to 25, I would hope that you could say Freight Connect was a part of this. I really, really, really want to be able or you to be able to say that. No matter how small the part is, you don't even have to tell me or tell us, but I want us to have a purpose, and I do believe that we do, and I think that it's to help, in the trucking industry. There's other things that we could do. And I'm only saying that because this is what we have chosen. I have chosen because I'm very fond of the trucking industry ever since I got into it back in 2002. So that is all that I have. Please look us up, check us out. There's so many things that we're offering. There is one thing that, and I'll put it out, I guess, on the YouTube. We do have, like with the report, we have a paid version, and I'm telling you what we're doing and the tools that we're putting together. They're very awesome. They're amazing. But we can also give you a free report if you'd like, and I'd love to do that for us to be able to put that information together and hear what you think about the report in the sense that, hey, is that spot on with what's going on there? Or, how far off is it, the report that we're putting together? But how is this thing able to help you? I want it to be able to help you. Even if it's just to give you some insight at that moment and you did nothing about it, but you were able to say, wow, I'd love to be able to do that. I'm going to put the link in there. You'll be able to go in, complete the form. Doesn't take you long. I think it's only asking 7 questions maybe, and we'll take that information and create something personal for you. That form is that information is going to be based upon your area of interest, whether it's the Southwest area, the Southeast area. If it's just a specific lane, that's okay. We'll figure it out. We'll be able to put something together, and I hope that it actually does help you in some capacity. But it is free, okay? Again, there's that ice water. Are you going to be one to pick it up? If you say that, hey, I want to grow. I'm looking to develop. I'm looking to grow my business, develop myself, develop my people, something we should be doing on a regular basis, developing. CPI develops, it gets greater and greater and greater. GDP gets greater and greater and greater. If we want to be a part of that growth, then we have to put ourselves in position to grow. Put ourselves in position to take advantage of the opportunity, which is called luck. You got to prepare. Okay. But at any rate, there's probably going to be about 7 questions. And let me see. I have it here. Yes, I do. And elevate. Yeah, I'm going to have to put that out. It's going to be, it's free mini signal map request form powered by Freight Connect. And you just complete that. We get the information and we'll put that together for you. And if you are involved in one of our programs, you'll be able to get on one of the calls and we'll be able to talk about all this stuff, how this report works. The weekly report that we send out, the monthly report that we send out is to help you grow your business. Okay. Some of that stuff might look foreign to you, but we are here to help support you because the calls that we get on, it's going to make sense to you. I guarantee it. We have companies or businesses where we help them 2 years later. They're telling me it took their business from, thinking about closing the doors to thriving when others were not. Yeah, so I'm going to send that out, okay? At any rate, I really appreciate you guys being here and letting me rattle on. And I'm going to try to put some music at the beginning of this video and at the end of the video and see if I can make that happen. Again, that's just me doing it. At some point, I'm going to have somebody that can do all this stuff, that knows how to do this. Oh, where can you reach us? You can reach us at Elevate, E-L-V-A-T-E, E-L-E-V-A-T-E, E-L-E-V-A-T-E, FR8. So that's Elevate Freight, FR8 dot, yes, .com. I'm getting it mixed up with the email address, but at any rate, elevatefreight.com. See, if I knew how to edit, I would edit all this out and this thing would look so sharp, right? But I don't know how. It's me doing all this, and that's okay. Elevatefreight.com. That's the website to call me. It's 866-342-0040, extension 109. Guys, if you see me on here and you're like ready to push that button and move on, that's fine. But one thing I will say is that the things that I do here, this is not like easy for me. I'm not that type of person just to get in front of people and just do this or do that. The reason I'm saying that is for you, you can do things that you don't feel comfortable in, and maybe people don't support you, if people don't want to stop and watch your video and things like that. That's okay. I'm telling you now, yes, it is okay. Male, female, young, older person, it does not matter. Tall, short, I don't care. Black, white, whatever it is, religion, I don't care. You can do it. I've done many things afraid where I didn't feel confident. But the one thing that I knew was that if I did it, then, and I did it again, I was going to find myself in a position where I look back and say, wow, if I could do that, then I can do this. If I can do this, I can do this. You see what I mean? And when you do that and you've got your kiddos around, you've got whoever around, and they see that, and it becomes a part of, so to speak, the DNA. This is just what I know. This is what I do. We got to lead that, okay? So, at any rate, 866-342-0040, extension 109. And then also email address is paul.k@fr8connect.com. So there's no, that's fr8connect.com. So that's paul.k@fr8connect, CONNECT.com. All right. Again, thank you for spending a little time. I know this was long. It's a lot longer than I anticipated. But fortunately, fortunately, I'm not going to apologize for that. Some things came up that I just felt like I needed to address. And thank you again, economic indicators. All right. Next time we get together, I want you to think about some other economic indicators, ones that you think would be a part of the industry, our industry, that would be directly a part of our industry, making a difference, and then some indirect ones. But just think about it, okay? Be inquisitive. All right. We'll see you next time. God bless.